welcome to Best of the Bets. I'm Christina Nicolaides and we're here to discuss the best betting opportunities for this weekend's Premier League action and some of the European games as well. I have regular guests and I have our bookie extraordinaire, the one and the only Gareth Walker from Heaven Bet and Mermaid Bet. How are you doing, Gareth?
Very well, thank you. Still reeling from the German sensational performances we've had this week.
Did you say that last week?
I did. It's same things happened again this week.
And Sam Dymond is our football expert and editor of bestofthebets.com. How are you doing?
Very well.
Are you preempting the win?
I don't remember Fulham winning. What's with the shave?
I can't remember Fulham winning at all.
They should, but we'll come on to that game for this week. Tottenham versus Southampton is where we're starting with.
Tottenham are 1.5, the draw is 4.5, and Southampton 7.1.
I personally think this is a very tough game to call. It seems a lot of people are preempting a straightforward Tottenham win, but I wouldn't be so confident. Both sides are quite funny to call. I think obviously Tottenham do need the points because they're chasing this Champions League spot, 2 and 3 points behind Chelsea and Arsenal respectively. Have this game in hand against Chelsea to come. But they've only won 2 of their last 6, and they've drawn 4 of their last 5 in all competitions 2-2. So they're showing that they're really sort of struggling to get over the line.
Bale was missing from
Bale
some
was
of those
missing.
games.
He's made obviously a goal scoring return against Wigan. Opened the scoring against Southampton, his former club, in the reverse fixture that Tottenham went on to win. But I don't think will be that straightforward. Southampton obviously greatly improved since that fixture. No wins in 3 themselves, and they got a bit of a hammering off West Brom. But they've looked all right away from home recently. I think there's 3 clean sheets on the road in a row. They did have 2 players sent off against West Brom last week, which you think with suspensions would hamper them going into this game.
Not this time.
The good news is one of them is Danny Fox, so that could solve some issues they've had at left back. Luke Shaw, I think, is still a doubt though, so it means Fraser Richardson will have to come in, and that could leave the door open for a player I do like in Aaron Lennon, who came back on as a substitute against Wigan on the right wing. I quite like the prices about him scoring. He's at 11.5 to score the first goal.
Gareth, what's the score? What's the odds for Gareth Bale?
Bale 3.8. He seems short when we look at him, but he seems to score the first goal every time he's been
all
brought
manner
up.
of goals.
Absolutely, it's quite incredible. I mean, these are 2 teams that I've been keen to side with, certainly in 2013. At the prices, I've got to side with Southampton here, 7.1. But I mean, it's against these top teams that they've been really excelling. So I actually think this could be fairly cagey. As Sam pointed out about the Southampton defence not conceding away. I know they conceded 3 last week, but I'm tempted by this under 2.5 goals. Actually, 2.3.
Yeah.
It's a decent price for what could end up being very sort of cat and mouse. Level at half time, quite tense. And the longer the game goes on and it's level, then that'll play more and more into Southampton's hands.
I do like draw half time, but Tottenham to win full time.
That's priced at 4.5.
I think this could be another stalemate, so the draw for me.
Draw 4.5. One other perhaps way to consider playing Southampton. They're 4.9 to win on the Asian handicap of level ball, which is basically Southampton plus 0, which is a draw no bet. If it's a draw, you get your money back. If Southampton win, you get paid out of 4.9. That's maybe one other way of looking at playing Southampton here.
OK, moving on then. QPR versus Arsenal. Will it be an easy win for Arsenal, or could we have a shocker at Loftus Road?
7.9 for QPR. The draw's 4.6 and Arsenal 1.45.
I just think now, with the pressure off QPR now they know they're resigned to their fate. A lot of these players are surely going to be wanting to put themselves in a shop window if they want Premier League football next season. They're going to have to produce some pretty eye-catching performances in these remaining weeks. And I just think with Zamora back, is this a chance for Remy? We know Remy's going to be going. Arsenal, possibly one of the suitors following him. It'd be quite nice for him to put in a performance here. I just think as well, Arsenal, we're unbeaten in 7 now. But just, again, I mean, they probably one of their best performances against Man United. But once United got back into the game with the penalty, but they didn't really show too much.
Well, great for half an hour, but then, second half it was...
Which I think has been Arsenal's trouble. And I just, again, similar to Tottenham, I don't think they'll do enough to get over the winning line here. So it's going to be a draw from me again here. It may seem like sitting on the fence, but I think at the prices, it's an interesting play.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the fact QPR's record against the top teams really is impressive. And 7.9, the more I've been studying this game this week, the more it's tempted me in. But yeah, I think it could be pretty cagey. Under 2.5 is 2.2. But yeah, that fact that Arsenal have struggled at QPR, I don't know if there's a sort of tight atmosphere there. And yeah, I'll I can't really be trusting Arsenal at 1.45. QPI could get anything. It could end up being a 5-0 hammering, but 7.9 big enough to tempt me in. The converse way, we've already had a fair bit of interest in this actually. The North London double, Tottenham to win at 1.5 and Arsenal to win at 1.45. Looks two sort of good things on paper. That as a double pays 2.2. There's been some interest in that. I'm sure that'll tempt a few. I'm going to go the opposite way and side with the two outsiders.
Okay, we're going to move on to West Brom versus Wigan. Wigan desperate for points.
It's must win really. West Brom 2.4, draw 3.4, Wigan 3.1. Can they?
West Brom to be seen to find in form again.
Yeah, it was their first win in 5 games. It's put them 6 points clear of Swansea. I think this is what Wigan's sort of only hope here is it may just take their eye off the ball now for the remaining games. And I think maybe the other thing that goes in their favour here is the fact that West Brom's local rivals Aston Villa, would they possibly be wanting to do a favour for Wigan?
Steve Clarke says he does want to do them a favour.
Well, managers will say a lot of things, won't they? But it's how sort of the players and the fans react on the day. I don't really like the prices about Wigan, but I think my heart is just wanting to side with them here.
Gareth?
I mean, I really want a Wigan victory. I really do, because I want this relegation battle to go right down to the last day, and it'll drag so many teams in. We've said it before about this FA Cup final that Wigan have coming up, and it's got to have a negative impact on the Swansea game and the Arsenal game that they've got. So this is what it's all about. Look at West Brom's 2013 form, results-wise not been great, and even when you sort of break it down and look at where they've had points, you think, well, a bit fortunate there, a bit fortunate there. But that wasn't the case last week. They thoroughly deserved the win at Southampton and were impressive. Oh, just 2.4 at home. What are they, 16 points ahead of them? 15, 16 points in front of Wigan, and they're at home. 2.4.
Would you edge the draw?
I don't really like the draw for this one, because I think Wigan are going to have to go for it. If it's level with 10 minutes to go, Wigan are going to go for it. I don't see that Wigan will come off the field and point away at West Brom. Ordinarily, you'd maybe think decent result, but just the nature of how this is now with
need the
4 games left for them. So I've got to take West Brom at 2.4.
Okay, we are going to move on to Norwich versus Aston Villa, and what a result for Aston Villa on Monday, needed as well.
Norwich 2.5, draw 3.3, and Aston Villa a 3.
They won 4 of their last 7 Premier League games. It seems like Paul Lambert's finally getting something right. I mean, they seem to be going about this relegation battle sort of the right way and sort of really trying to attack teams. Norwich, on the other hand, are really sort of pragmatically
stumbling over the line out there. One more point.
And more worryingly, I think, for Norwich fans, is the fact they didn't have a shot on target in the whole game. That's the first time that's happened to them this season, and all 3 of those games have happened since March. 2 wins in 18 matches. One of those was against relegated Reading, and the other one was that real smash and grab against Everton. So, as we say, this is they can't wait for the season to end and to make sure that there are sort of safe above that relegation line. I think the other problem for Norwich here is Sebastian Bassong is a doubt, and he's probably been the one bright spark in defence this season. I like Aston Villa. I like them again for this match. And I'm going to keep saying it. Maybe I'm going to go for this clean sheet as well. But Aston Villa to win for me.
What are we? 19 games without the clean sheet. December the 8th against Stoke City. But if they're ever going to get one, surely it's here, because Norwich not creating a lot. The panic that Norwich will have is that they've started conceding. Really, they've conceded goals in the last 6 games, having been fairly tight defensively. I'm going to go with a draw here, because it's a result that at the end of the day both managers will be fine with. They'll think it's another point closer to safety. I think Villa are a better team than Norwich. But I think that at the prices, draw outsider of the 3 is good. I think it'll be pretty tight.
What about the odds for Christian Benteke to score?
Christian Benteke to score the first goal, 5.8. Fantastic stat I saw in the week. He's won more aerial duels than any other player in any of the top 5 divisions in Europe.
Okay, time to hear what Mike Holden has to say about this particular game.
It's essentially such a young team that Paul Lambert's assembled there. And with young players, it's very difficult to keep them on an even keel. The emotions will have run high after that game, and to get them back and performing to the same standards at Carrow Road on Saturday could be a big ask. Norwich have kind of slipped into trouble in recent weeks. They've not been picking up fantastic results, not too many wins, but the home form does remain solid. They keep a lot of clean sheets at home, and I think they're going to be really tough for Villa to break down.
Right, so we've heard from Mike, but we're going to move on to our next game, and it is West Ham versus Newcastle.
I just saw you drop when you had to discuss Newcastle.
I know.
West Ham 2.3 for this one, the draw 3.4, Newcastle 3.15 for a badly needed victory.
A humiliating defeat last week,
Yeah.
and obviously a lot of problems within the club.
Two humiliating defeats in a row, isn't it?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
At home, it just makes it even worse.
Which was where they've been so strong this season,
Yeah.
because they've been dreadful away, so they've relied on their home form. And it's just all this talk about players out of form being played, players out of position as well. It's just, it seems like Alan Pardew's very desperate at the moment. And he's going to need a favour from a Newcastle old boy here, because Andy Carroll has sort of played himself into some very good form. Obviously now fitting into the system that Sam Allardyce is going with at West Ham. 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 appearances. Obviously a helping hand from Joe Hart last week, but I think he could be the difference. Just because Newcastle, we saw them really sort of struggling to deal with any kind of balls into the middle. I can see a home win for West Ham, and I can see an Andy Carroll goal. Andy Carroll first goal scorer.
Andy Carroll first goal scorer, he's 6.3 to score first, but I just think West Ham 2.3 is a very solid bet. I haven't seen enough from Newcastle for months to be thinking that they can get anything here.
Unfortunately. Moving on then, we've got the remaining 4 teams on Saturday: Swansea versus Manchester City, Fulham versus Reading.
Yeah, not really too much up for grabs really in these. Swansea 5.2, draw 3.7, and Man City are 1.7.
And Swansea cruise control.
Cruise control is the right word, but there's certain games I think they'll try and get themselves up for towards the end of the season, and I think this is probably one of them. Looked at the last 2 games between the two, very, very tight affairs. Both ended 1-0 to the home side. And I think just that Swansea struggling for goals, but they still are pretty solid at the back, especially at Liberty Stadium. I really like the unders in this match, and under 2.25 goals.
Under 2.25, that's priced at 2.2. Swansea have certainly been in cruise control. Maybe City have been in cruise control as well. No wins in 6 for Swansea, but yeah, 5.2. Maybe I'll have a small goal with that. And then the other game, Fulham 1.7, draw 3.7, Reading 5.3.
We see a smile, big smile from you next week.
Well, I hope so, but the last 3 games haven't really given me much to get excited about. 3 defeats and no goals, but I suppose if you do need a game to just sort of finish off the season nicely, then it is Reading at home. Reading have lost 8 and drawn 2 of the last 10. I just think if Fulham sort of get into their stride early in this game, sometimes they're capable. When the sun's shining and there's nothing at stake, Fulham have a tendency to sort of play some pretty nice football, and I can see them a comfortable victory here. And all that considering, I'll take Fulham on the handicap -1.
It's priced at 2.7. I'll risk upsetting Sam for the whole weekend by making a case for opposing Fulham, actually. Encouraging signs for Reading would be a couple of 0-0s in the last 3 games. Yeah. I think Sam could have a frustrating afternoon, maybe not see many goals, actually. And maybe I'll be looking at the unders here. I think it could be fairly cagey. Adkins is set up very defensively, and
come on, Fulham 1-0.
Real thriller earlier in the season between these two, so
yeah, very different.
Yeah, 5-0.
5-0.
5-0, 31. I'll go 0-0.
1-0.
1-0, which is 6.4.
Okay. Best bet then for Saturday, Gareth.
Promise this will be the last time this season looking at the remaining fixtures, but Southampton 7.1.
Okay.
I've just got to go for that.
Sam, your best bet for Saturday, please.
My best bet, I just think now with the pressure off and Bobby Zamora back, QPR can do enough to stifle Arsenal at Loftus Road. Draw for me at 4.6.
Okay, I'm going to go for West Ham to beat Newcastle, and I'm going to go for Fulham to beat Reading.
So the double pays 3.9. Good luck.
Thank you. For you to place your bets on any of Saturday's games and much more, then do check out our website, which is heavenbet.com. For our Danish viewers, then place your bets at mermaidbet.dk. Join us after the break when we look at Sunday's games and some of the European action as well. See you then. Do you rate your powers of prediction? Well, now is your chance to prove it and win a prize. Log on to bestofthebets.com, and in the tips and advice section, you'll find 6 Premier League games discussed in the show. Predict home, draw, or away for each one, and 4 or more correct answers guarantees a prize. Good luck.